Muchas gracias. First of all, I want to go ahead, buenas noches, and I want to go ahead and congratulate Ms. Cristina Garcia Chappell on such a wonderful honor and recognition. I'm always really happy to be able to brag on other Latina abogadas, although I know you're the mera abogada. She has done such wonderful things for our community, and I want to thank you for the work that you've done with the immigrant population and the detainees, so thank you so much for that. When I was asked to speak about my dear friend, Frank, I went to ChatGPT. Has anybody used ChatGPT? If you've never used it, it's a pretty amazing thing. If you have children in high school or in college, just talk to them because they all use it apparently. And I put in a prompt, it's this generative AI thing, and I said, write me, an introduction to Frank Fuentes from Austin, who's the head of the U.S. Hispanic Contractors. And this is what it gave me. Frank Fuentes is a prominent leader in the construction industry and a dedicated advocate for Hispanic business owners. Based in Austin, Texas, he serves as the chair of the U.S. Hispanic Contractors Association, an influential organization committed to supporting and empowering Hispanic contractors across the United States. Through his leadership, Fuentes works tirelessly to ensure that Hispanic-owned businesses have a voice in the industry, fostering opportunities for growth, advocacy, and development. His deep commitment to promoting diversity, inclusion, and equitable business practices has made him a respected figure in both the local and national construction communities. Pretty impressive stuff, right? But you already knew that, and I already knew that. And that's not why you got this award, Frank. What makes him special is what he does for people. Like our mayor said, it's not so much the title, it's not so much the organization, it's what he does for everybody. I met Frank, I do remember, it was in the year 2000, so 24 years ago. Yes, I was about 12 back then. I had just been appointed to be a county court at law judge here in Travis County, and I had called to make an appointment to talk to him and some of the folks from the organization because I wanted their endorsement. And he was kind enough to take a meeting with me, and we talked about a lot of different things. The last thing we talked was about politics, but we talked about life in general and things. And then he looked at me and goes, "Now, tell me why our organization would be interested in getting behind or endorsing a judge, especially in a criminal court." And I said, "Well, not that I expect you to be in front of me anytime soon, but honestly, the issues of the time is I was being kind of docked, and the people that were against me because I was not the right type of Hispanic for the job. You see, my parents come from Cuba. I'm not a Mexican American, I'm a Cubana. And thank you. And although I do consider myself an honorary Mexicana, because I do, that at the time, and sometimes we can be our worst enemies, I will tell you, the discrimination we can do on each other, can beat anything anybody else can do. I told him it was important to me to make sure that I had the Hispanic backing from all parts of the city. And he looked at me and he said, he looked at my resume, he looked at my opponent's resume, he goes, "But you're obviously the most qualified for the position." And I said, "Yes, I think I am." And he said, "That's not right. That's not right, and we're going to go ahead and do it." And I'm pretty sure that I'm one of the few judges, if not the only judge, who has ever had an endorsement, especially as a criminal court judge, from the Hispanic contractors. And ever since then, Frank and he's become a great advocate for me. He has been there. He's had my back. And he is just such a wonderful person. And I'm sure everybody in here has a story like that. I want to share a couple of other things that I think are the reason why he got this award and why I think he is a great man. One of them was I had a while back, gosh, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, one of our radio personalities on the radio had made a slur, what we call people that are undocumented here in English, on the radio. It was a joke. It did not go well. I don't know if you remember. And he was basically thrown off the radio station, and it was just a horrible thing. He happens to be one of my neighbors, and I knew him. And I called Frank, And I said, Frank, you know, can you just meet with him? I'm not asking for anything, but would you? And he said, if he's a friend of yours, I will meet with him. And what came out of that meeting was a very compassionate way to handle the situation. And Frank showed, you know, it's a great time to instruct and to educate people. Instead of, you know, going out there and making, let's go ahead and just kind of bang on our chest and be better than thou, he really helped that situation and that person. And I'll always be grateful for that, Frank. And finally, oh my gosh, you know, who could forget the pandemic, right? How long ago was that? It seems like it was years ago, ages ago. You know, in the pandemic, while most of us were in our house without going out, Frank and the organization, the Hispanic Contractors, were out there every weekend. And they were providing personal protection equipment for their workers. They were providing tests when nobody could get tests for the workers. They were providing vaccines when we got the vaccines for the worker. And it wasn't just for construction workers. It was for schools. It was on the east side. It was for the people who needed that help. And that was all him and his organization, Frank. And I cannot thank you enough for all that you did during that time. So thank you so much. I want to end by bragging a little bit about his daughters, because if you have kids, that's what you do, right? It doesn't matter what you've ever accomplished, nothing will be as important as what your children do. And I think you can tell a lot from a person by their children. So as most of you know, Frank has two daughters, and we have Gabriela Judith Fuentes. We have Gabby here with us